Go here. Go live. Okay, I did that. Go live. Okay. Then you're going to go la da 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 da. All right. Okay. All right. We're good here. Everything is there. All right. So if anyone wants to chat. Okay. Delete that. All right. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, I guess I would have to what? Okay. The banner, I would have to do that. All right. Okay, so I know we've been 2 minutes in, but this is Papa Dukes of the OG Social Network podcast. I am starting this whole new thing going on here with StreamYard, so I can stream on all of my platforms and Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Everything kicks off in about 4 minutes, but I just wanted to get a little bit into that we're growing and getting things better. So 2 seconds. Righty. So it just seems everything should be okay. Let's make sure we're good here. Boom. Settings. Audio. Yes. Test. Yeah, okay. And the microphone is in good place here. It's amazing. Keep that nice and going there. All righty. Want to make sure that we keep it nice going there. Virtual background is great. General orientation. Settings are disable while live. No worries. It's all good. Recording. We are recording in the background. Everything is great. Guests. Able to stream. Yada, yada. No banned guests. Boom, boom, boom. And no green room. Okay. So I'm up here just preparing and waiting for my guest to come in. We'll see how that works. They should arrive down at the bottom in the next 2 minutes. And as you know, this is going to be a weird show. I'm going to see how this works out for me. What's the style like? You? Oh, you. Yeah, I like that. Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow. I didn't know you had all these styles. Oh, wow. Wow, look at that. Minimal. Wow. Okay. Did not know that. Okay. Yeah. Minimal. Oh, cancel. Alrighty. Save and oh no. What the fuck? Let me make sure she's not over here. I want to make sure she's not over here as well, because she's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be here. Alrighty. So we're close to getting to it. That looks good. Okay, so let's just go back. The brands. Alrighty. So okay. It's recording. All right. Yeah, we're recording. All right. Let's get that. Yada. Everything is connected. Nope. Uh-oh. All right. Let's go here. We're still here, right? Oh, nope. And live. Discard video. StreamYard. Edit. Let's add, paste, save changes. Alrighty, go live. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. All right. Where am I at here? Okay, let's exit full. Where are we at? Is anyone in? Are we having a problem? Okay. So far, so good. All right. Okay, you can add to stage. Okay, this is all new. I am waiting. Let's boom. I am still waiting. If there's a problem, we want to invite, go to, sent. In fact, you need to I don't know if she'd be able to do it. Oh, do it from here. Alrighty. Hello? Hi, Dasheeda.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm getting
Perfect.
everything together now. Bear with me.
Sure.
All righty. Do. Okay. Boom. All righty. Media. Go back to brand. Okay, that's what it was. Excelente. Do. All righty. So you can hear me well?
I can. I'm on mute, but I can hear you well.
Excellent. Excellent. All righty. Here we go. Thank you for your time. We're going to go right into it, okay? Get you right in. I know your time is precious, and I appreciate all the time you've taken to come in. And we're going to go ahead and just get started. Hey, everybody, it's Papa Dukes of the OG Social Network podcast. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. I'm here with Dasheeda Dawson. She is the chair of Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition. Also, too, I just want to say, Dasheeda, your background noise, there's, if you can maybe, I don't know, there was some, wherever you're at, it could be, oh, that's awesome. All righty, so here we go. You all know what's going on the show today. This is Papa Dukes of the OG Social Network podcast, sponsored by Proteus 420, Green Spectrum, Myers Security, and New York City Cannabis Exchange out there in Queens, New York. We're going to get right into it because I know Dasheeda's time has taken me almost 6 months to get her on the podcast, and I just want to get as much information out to her as possible about you all, about her to you all as possible. Dasheeda Dawson is a global cannabis advocate, award-winning Fortune 100 business strategist, and best-selling author in the cannabis industry. Ms. Dawson has nearly 20 years of business development, strategy management, and brand marketing excellence while leading transformational organizations in both the public and private sectors, in nearly a decade of which she is focused on the growing cannabis industry. As an advocate and policy advisor, Ms. Dawson was pivotal in the 2021 landmark passage of New York's Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act. That's murder for everyone that knows. While fighting for legalization in her home state, Ms. Dawson led cannabis regulation in Portland, Oregon for several years. In that role, Ms. Dawson oversaw all regulatory licensing, compliance, education, and equity initiatives for the city's cannabis industry. Under her leadership, Portland approved a multi-million-dollar cannabis emergency relief fund, becoming the first government jurisdiction in the country to allocate cannabis tax revenue to provide aid and emergency relief to the industry. In October of 2022, Dasheeda was appointed founding director of Cannabis NYC by Mayor Eric Adams. As profiled by the New York Times, she returns home to lead the city's efforts to become a global leader in the cannabis industry. As a founding director, she oversees the interagency creation and curation of citywide resources and services to help build sustainable cannabis industry, including helping entrepreneurs to apply for licenses, accessing financing opportunities, and navigating municipal regulations. Ms. Dawson serves as board chair of the Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition, a national organization of industry policymakers and regulators, often referred to as leading architects of cannabis equity and reform in the United States. I'm going to reread that again. Ms. Dawson serves as board chair of the Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition, a national organization of industry policymakers and regulators, often referred to as the leading architects of cannabis equity and reform in the United States. She received her MBA from Rutgers Business School and completed her undergraduate degree and before that, complete her undergraduate degree in molecular biology at Princeton University. I just want to say thank you so much. I know there's more to you than what was sent to me. I love your bio. I love what you're doing. How has it been? What's going on?
So, yeah, I'm not sure if you can still see me or if you can hear me. Thank you. I'm always thrilled to hear the bio because it reminds me of how long I've been in the industry and how far I've come to get to, quote unquote, be the weed head, the head of the weed industry. And I'm thrilled to finally get the chance to be on your podcast. I know it has been a long time coming. And when we see each other out in the streets, usually at some sort of educational event, we always have good conversation. So I'm ready to have great conversation. Shout out to everybody on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm not sure where you might be joining us.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook,
yes.
IG.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I'm using this platform to be able to to inform everyone about our community.
Okay.
And you, Erica Ford, all you amazing. I have been preaching for the last year. The heart and soul of the cannabis industry are women. They're the goddesses of life and love, and also this community. So I just want to know what is going on. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Actually, this is my very, very first interview as the former founding executive director of Cannabis NYC. I resigned from my role effective on Tuesday, and I'm just thrilled to have some rest and recharge time as I gear up for what's next. The horizon is extremely bright, and a lot of people don't know that my last day in Portland was really my first day in New York City. I never took a break. I went from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. It was likely unprecedented. And I'm really excited about the break before I become more intentional about my impact and influence at the state and federal level.
And what was your, have what you learned in Portland, has it been used? Have you been able to transfer all of that here to New York and make it better? And could you give us some ideas?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people thought we were moving lightning fast as we think about how slow government moves. In 2.5 years, we launched the largest public education campaign that the state has ever seen. It is an unprecedented one in that we were 5 boroughs, and we also involved the community. They brought the tribe and the vibe. We brought the education with the Liftoff Tour. And we also were able to launch a cannabis loan fund, which means that we were able to create a financing vehicle before cannabis tax revenue really started trickling into the city. That again was also unprecedented. Our 5-borough cannabis NYC coalition is the first time where you have community advocates, business leaders, and government all working together, learning together on a bi-weekly basis. That was also unprecedented. So we moved quickly because I had experience in Portland, and Portland is a very, very progressive city. So there were a lot of laws in place that allowed me to do a lot of things right away, including putting cannabis tax revenue back into communities. But even though the laws were in place, they didn't have leaders that were necessarily implementing them until I came on board. So one of the things I learned right away in Portland was implementation in a bureaucratic system. I'm a former Fortune 100 executive, and strategy is what I do. Navigating really big systems and frameworks, creating them, that's also what I do. But in government, it can be very linear, very slow, and purposely frustrating for the average individual. And myself, I'm both pleasantly persistent and one of those people that just generally won't take no for an answer. And I learned how to set precedent in Portland. And then I was able to bring that precedent and also refer to it in New York City, particularly when city law would challenge, like, who else has done this? Well, first of all, I came here to be the czar so we could do new stuff. But even though we are trying to set precedent, there are other cities and other jurisdictions that we can learn from. And so I would bring officially what Portland and other jurisdictions did. I think that's why Cannabis Regulators of Color is also extremely important as a coalition, because we get to build on those insights insights across the country. And yeah, you have to bring that precedent and the evidence and the receipts, if you will, if you want city law to, align with your vision on how to move something forward. And so that was critical to get a lot of big projects done on behalf of the New Yorkers that were interested in entrepreneurship, workforce, as well as medical cannabis patients and consumers.
Tell us more about your new organization, and what we can expect from it.
So CRCC, or the Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition, is not a new organization. Actually, I've been the chair since 2020, which is the year we were founded. And we were born out of finally reaching a critical mass of regulators that were actually of color. Shout out to Kat Packer and Shalene Title, some of the first people of color to lead in a regulatory framework for legal cannabis. But we got to a point where there were 10 of us, and they were all women, to your point. And we decided to start this coalition. And so we've been 5 years strong, nearly, and we've grown in more than 50 members and are capitalizing on the fact that every day new markets are legalizing, whether hemp, medical, or adult use, and not just here, abroad, in Bahamas, Barbados, over in the continent. And we are the ones being able to connect with those largely countries of color that are starting to legalize or create blueprint to legalize. And so we've been around for a while, and I've been the chair, even in my role as the founding executive director. I've been the chair of the Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition the entire time. In fact, it was baked into a portion of my job, both at Portland and here in New York City, which was strategic.
Let me ask you, do you think that with our current administration, we're going to be kind of stalled and have to wait for a new administration to really act on this descheduling?
Are you talking about the federal administration?
Yeah, federal,
okay.
Yeah. And also, in terms of that, how states are reacting on an individual too.
Yeah, on the federal level, I mean, I think that we are in a wait and see. We had President Trump indicate before the election that he was interested in ensuring no one got arrested for cannabis, and also trying to figure out some sort of framework. But whether or not that becomes a priority for the administration, based on who he's already appointed for various key agencies, it is a little bit unclear. I think we've always operated with ambiguity at the federal level, meaning we, the state, and the local level. And so right now, based off of just the decades of experience with state and local frameworks, we have to kind of stay the course on the work that we're doing here. Descheduling is still the goal. And I think with rescheduling being paused, in a way, that's a good opportunity to, again, reignite the focus on why descheduling is important. We need to pull it off the controlled substance list, which would then take it from up under the Drug Enforcement Agency or administration. And so once we do that, I think we'll really be able to free the plant while also freeing the people that have been persecuted the most. So we are watching closely at CRCC, and we're also interfacing with the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Cannabis Caucus leaders, some of which overlap, to ensure that they are armed and ready with the insights that we have at the local level and the state level, so that we're not losing momentum. We're still having these conversations behind closed doors, even if there's not a chance to pass a bill. But there are chances now to improve them. The MORE Act still needs improvement. It's passed so many times, and each time incrementally improved. We need to be using this time to workshop it and ensure that the things that we've learned on the ground here in the states and the local level do not have repeats happening at the federal level.
Now, that act that you were referring to, can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so the MORE Act is the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, so it stands for MORE, and it's one of the first comprehensive descheduling bills that was introduced in the House of Representatives, I think as early as 2017 with the Marijuana Justice Act. I believe at the time, again, it was really a restorative justice bill similar to the MRTA in New York. And it's been improved over the years, even the name changing to be more comprehensive. to include not only descheduling, but expungement, a community reinvestment piece, hence the name, and then an opportunity piece in the framework for the licensing, an opportunity for people who were from communities disproportionately impacted. And so this is a bill that has passed the House several times, but we've never really necessarily had an accompanying bill on the Senate side. And if you are not familiar with how things work, even at the state level, the two houses have to pass bills that look the same before they go to the lead executive, whether it's the governor or the president of the United States, to sign the bill into law. The bill that matches that in the Senate has a very, very newer kind of path. It was introduced by Senator Chuck Schumer, who's the New York U.S. Senator, as you know, and basically that's the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, CAOA, not as memorable as MORE Act, but it is the descheduling bill for the Senate. It's been introduced as of last year. It's expected to get some amendments and further introduction, but it never has really moved very far as the Senate is concerned. The only comprehensive bill that we've gotten the House and the Senate to agree on in many, many decades has been the Medical Marijuana and Cannabidiol Expansion Act, which is a research bill that Biden did sign into law. We just have never gotten any direction from any agency on what this law actually means in action and implementation.
Okay. How do you, a couple of people have asked me about the current administration, Governor Hochul's stance. I'm kind of like, I don't know where she stands with it. I believe like she's just taken on what was left to her due to the abrupt with Cuomo leaving abruptly. But can you tell us or give us an idea of what her stance is? I know you're not in her head, and I read and I'm still not getting it. Is she helping the industry, and being a leader and guiding us in the right way, or is she just there to, can you give us some insight on that?
In all honesty, I can't really speak to that. I've been at the city level, but what I can tell you is that the MRTA is a very unique law and is very clear about what's supposed to happen as a result of the development of the New York State Office of Cannabis Management and the Cannabis Control Board. And so, I believe ultimately, the governor wants to uphold the law. And so I think that makes sense. And, we are watching, of course, a lot of media and, non kind of government weigh in on what has happened and what should happen. I have a lot of opinion on that, of course, but I would say there hasn't been anything that shows me that the governor is not necessarily interested in upholding the law, and I think that's what we have to kind of get back to is like, what does the MRTA say? Every year there are so many new bills introduced, and it shows that a lot of people haven't read the MRTA. Right. And it wasn't, no bill is ever perfect. Let's be clear. I'm not a lawyer, but I have been in policy making, and as a strategist in terms of framework development, it's hard to predict. And we learn every time a new market opens. And so a lot of what was built was around that. But the one thing that was indisputable was that this was restorative justice at its core. New York had arrested more people than any other state in the country. And as a result, we have more to repair. It is the first bill to also admit the government misuse of the public view law. And that law in of itself is what contributed to so many arrests of people for possession in New York State. And the data is also very clear about who were the, first in line to see the inside of, jail cells simply because of cannabis. Not nearly 90% of the arrests were men. Nearly 60% were identified as Black men, and over 35% identify as Hispanic men. And the women and children and the families that were left at home in certain communities, where at one point, at the height of the war on drugs, 5 communities in New York City represented 80% of the prison population in the state, there was clear deliberate efforts, and the law is supposed to help restore that, repair that.
Right.
And so any framework built has to be towards that end. And so nothing I've seen so far out of the administration tells me they don't agree with that. But, there's probably always going to be some disagreement about how implementation happens. And again, I talked about that with Portland, a lot of great laws, but not the leaders that are necessarily there to implement. And sometimes it takes boldness. It takes real pleasant persistence, because there's going to be embedded in a systemically racist system, always people who don't want to change the system.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We're noticing that now in the political divisions that's going on. I think that I've been really seeing the I got to tell you, first off, with the political divisions that's going on in this country, and now that those that voted for that administration are seeing the truth and what's going on, we all have to take the time to really come together and take control of our political lives as well as our personal lives. I see in the cannabis community how organizations like yours, predominantly women, are just not waiting. They're getting out there. They're growing. Women Grow is one of them. And what is it that what is the main thing that is concerned for you for like minority retail dispensaries, or even just minority businesses? How are they going to be able to survive the next 4 years? Many are in states that are red, that are legal, but will it be like another Reconstruction? Like we could build ours, and then all of a sudden 20 years later we don't have it anymore. How can we protect ourselves?
To be honest, that's a very heavy question, and one that I continue to contemplate, even now after, leaving my government post. I think it starts with who we're, voting in. And, I know that people are like, oh, that sounds like the line. But the truth is, like, the law is created by people that are elected. I often talk about government in these 4 stratospheres. There's an elected person, an appointed person, a selected person, meaning they may be higher up and they do like a real national search. And then there's a hired individual. And the large bed of people in government are hired into their roles. And they're probably also the most impacted by any negative outcomes. But the very singular few of the elected are the ones that decide. I think we have to also start at the local level. I've had enough experience now at the local level to know that while federal is really critical, and we should not turn a blind eye to that, who you have as your city councilmen and women, their mayor, is really critical to your day-to-day. In our world, borough presidents, like the more complicated, obviously, your local, government structure it is, the more you start to see how it plays out on their ability to impact you. Before I started really being a strong advocate around cannabis, I wasn't paying attention to state legislator races as well, the assembly folks as well as the senators for the state level. And what I'm also kind of pointing out is those people have a far more greater impact on the day-to-day decision-making that happens on, just life for an individual or a citizen than the US or the federal person. And so I'm not saying only vote for the president or, like get out and vote, because a lot of times that's where we could, concentrate that message. But these positions that are local mean something. The DA, judges, they mean something, and they mean something in how things tend to maneuver in the state. For example, even with the cannabis space, little did we know we would have so many judges that have such a conservative position, right? I don't know if that was planned. I know you can always plan for a new market to be sued. but not necessarily a new market to be potentially sabotaged, right? By the way the lawsuits are strategically happening and the knowledge of very conservative judges that are going to be scrutinizing anyway. And it's aligned for them to slow down the movement, right?
Right.
Everything matters. And so when I say vote, I'm not just talking about the president. And I think we actually have to do a little bit more of the opposite here, is being very intentional. The next is, if you're not going to vote, you got to be a part of it. Everyone asked me about why I chose to go into government. It was serendipitous. My book tour was canceled due to COVID, and the same time Portland called, but they only called because I was already doing government action. I was already participating formally in coalitions, in subcommittees, in steering committees, and advisory boards. I was already contracting with government to help them build these frameworks, but often feeling stuck. And at some point I had to look in the mirror, even as I took the New York City role, and I knew that it would be one of the most challenging roles I've ever had in my career. But I'm like, who else is going to do it? You've had this, expertise to this point. You bring another city experience. You want New York to be started off with the right level. You've got to step into place. And I know it's scary because now you become a public figure. And with that, there's always the potential of just crazy things coming at you.
The scrutiny alone on your life,
Yes.
Many people are afraid. I mean, I think I was, all right, I'm a unique host. All right.
No, say it.
I was tripping on mushrooms during the election, and I said, I could do that. And then came to a realization, no, I can't do that. We really need the younger generation, special people that are passionate about the grassroots. We need more grassroots politicians. That's what it is. And it is about community, about setting up I've always been told it starts with the community and school boards. That's where you can really gain your influence. And if you have good policies and you're thinking about everyone as a whole, and it takes very special people to do that and keep them in as politicians without our political system is screwed up. I hear, for example, a 2-year congressman is actually, for the first year, they're doing fundraising. They're not even working on policy. So what do you tell young people how to get, how can they get involved to be active in our community, not just in the cannabis community, but
generally, right?
In general.
Well, one, people are surprised to know that I have a 21-year-old son.
No,
I do. Yes, I do. I'm very thrilled to have an adult that is thriving in his own way. He's in college still, and a computer engineer major. And so proud of him. But I do talk a lot about what he can do, because a lot of what COVID did for that particular generation Z is almost made them a little bit desensitized to crisis, right? Desensitized, but also highly anxious, but this anxiety that they're good at masking, almost masking as unaffected, unbothered. The internet has contributed to that. And I think the first thing is, one, don't act unbothered. You're seeing things, you're hearing things. If you're having anxiety, some people are going to be flight, and some people are going to be fight. And so if you're drawn to the fight, don't just fight on the internet. Don't just fight in social media. Fight in real life, in the sense of some of the organizing that has to happen. There are veteran organizers in every industry, and they're always looking for volunteers and people who want to participate. And in some ways, it builds community as well. But I think there's an opportunity for people to now look at how do I get a job or a role in these areas, and how do I get an internship? How do I see it up close and personal? Because if there isn't an attempt to at least do the work in that way, no matter how many boycotts we say we're doing on the internet, it will not change. We'll still be in the same anxious, hyper anxious state, always in a crisis, and also feeling and masking unbothered, So I'm encouraging people to feel stuff, and if it makes you, want to take action, do so in a strategic way, get involved in on the ground activities in the organizations, find a way to show your value. And I'll be honest, like our young people have a lot of value, but they also need a lot of mentorship. So I always can't talk to the young people without talking to people my age and older and kind of say, be a mentor as well. Like make sure that we don't get so, and do it with grace, right? We often are like, oh, the kids don't work as hard. They want, there's a sense of entitlement. They want it fast, but it's because they want to matter faster because the issues are happening to them faster. So give them the opportunity to do that. I would say not enough rope to hang themselves, but enough rope to feel independent in that effort. Otherwise, it makes people easily dejected and not wanting to really put their best foot forward.
Okay. Are you still organizing the marijuana day parade this year?
The office, Cannabis NYC, I believe, had intent to do so. Last I checked, it was for July 19th, 2025. And it is, one of those events that's been going on for more than 50 years. It's just recently in my leadership, the city finally did the right thing to support this event that had been going on for 50 years.
Right. And will you be a part of it this year? Will your organization be a part of it this year?
Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition were part of it last year. We should be a part of it this year, provided that we have team to be on site with the table. But yeah, we're expected to be there, and I'm going to be out and about. It's April. It's Cannabis month, as far as I'm concerned. I'm still.
I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Right. This is me. I've been smoking since I was 13, with maybe 7 years off in my whole life, military and all that, right? And as far as I'm concerned, that's my religion. I celebrate. That's like my holy month. Outside my mom's birthday, my kid's birthday. So you know what I mean?
It has been that way for me.
Yeah. And oh yes, you are like you all have to really check out her social media, her profile. It's inspiring. You see all these beautiful posts. You take lovely pictures. I haven't seen one yet. Really. You see mine, and I look like, but really it's informative. You're giving people great information, and I think that these platforms really help both ways. We need to take advantage of it. But that's so for me, it's ever since we became legal, 2022?
2021.
2021,
March
right?
31st, 2021.
So first off, like getting back to COVID, I believe also COVID brought out the entrepreneurial spirit, especially to a lot of lazy people, or people that were asleep, people that were working 9 to 5, people that realized, man, I was taking too much time away from my family, blah, blah, blah. So they developed their own. And many are realizing, for me, it gave me purpose.
Right.
The minute we legalized, I was always told to be on radio, to do voiceover, and this has been an amazing adventure the last year. Doing these interviews and talking to beautiful people, great people. So far, I haven't gotten anyone crazy on yet. Had a couple of bullets I missed, but like you're one of the major influences, I think, not just on a national, but I believe going to be on a global level, in a way where I feel New York State will be the center of the cannabis global industry because of the beautiful farmers, the land we have, the dedication to processing. I just saw a report about the testing situation that's going on in New Jersey, and it's failing miserably. And I'm hoping that our state, which I haven't done any research yet, I'm hoping our state is taking the lead on and benchmark on testing our products and selling safe products and services. That's what I'm hoping for. But also, are you going to be offering any educational programs or any internships to people that are interested in getting to the cannabis industry on any level?
Well, I was never allowed to talk about this while I was a government official, but I've been a best-selling author for some time. I have a workbook called How to Succeed in the Cannabis Industry. You can find it on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. But basically, that workbook helps a lot of people figure out strategically how they're supposed to maneuver in the space. So in that way, I kind of felt like I have a ubiquitous, always on cannabis education lens because you can get the workbook. Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition is actually going to be looking for interns. And so you can look ahead to that. If you're a policy major or whether you're at the undergraduate or graduate level, we are looking for people to work with us because we impact policy largely the most, but we also are trying to complete a number of industry reports as we talk about social and economic equity, as we talk about frameworks and whether or not they've really delivered on the return on equity investment. Those are the type of things that we're looking to do with some really smart people who want to join us in that effort. We've published a few papers already in partnership with Ohio State University, their Moritz College of Law. And so we hope to do more of that. And that often means needing research analysts and other people who are like myself. Like, I'm just curious. I don't love law. I didn't want to go to law school. I still can't believe I read these long documents, but I'm always curious about how things are written for confusion and or for clarity. And then I'm always curious about how to use the language to position what it is I know we need to see. And that has a puzzle that I'm always like excited to try to figure out. So that's what kind of fascinates me. And the more data I get, the more research I know, the better I'm at the puzzle and maneuvering in these conversations. A lot of policies written on misinformation and bro science, right? And so for us as Cannabis Regulators of Color Coalition, we want to make sure that we're able to inform policy development through real reports, real data. And so we need help with that.
Can you give us an example of a policy that was written on, incorrect data? Give us an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've got a lot of policies around drug recognition, usage, and we really can't, leverage the same, testing that you would do for alcohol and inebriation in the cannabinoid space. I mean, someone can use cannabinoids and still be in their system 30 days later, 20 days later, 20 hours later, and they would be perfectly sober. And so there's also the idea of tolerance that isn't necessarily taken into place. It's not like alcohol. And so there's a lot of that policy that often is informed on misinformation based off of the assumption that cannabinoids and alcohol are the same and act the same in the body, and they don't. So that's what I mean by what's the scientific fact behind it? What's the real information? When I think about the market development, nearly all of the markets have put the ceiling on how much people can hold or personally carry. And a lot of markets put it at 1 ounce. And that's because too many laws are being written on how hip hop describes an OZ or an ounce. And it's really not a lot of flour when you break it down.
It's not.
Grams. It's like, well, if you have a need for more consumption for whatever reason, from a neurodivergence to autoimmune issues, you should not be limited by law based off of what culturally you believe is a large amount of cannabis. That doesn't make sense. So I could go on. I could write a book about misinformation guiding policy and law. It's not just here. Cannabis is the most foolhardy because we have so much misinformation, but we're getting that in climate issues, environmental sustainability issues. We're getting that around racial equity issues as well.
Well, I just want to say we can't wait to hear more about what's going to be going on in the near future. I know that your organization, which is primarily a think tank, I think, on policy, and I can't wait to be a part and help in any way possible. The platform is yours to come on and talk about as many topics as you like, especially when it comes to raising these kids. we just
I definitely agree with you there. So
yeah.
I'm always thrilled to come in, and I appreciate, like, again, the platform that you've created for
Thank
people to
you.
come and talk through their experiences. I apologize, I'm in a public space and
No,
not
no worries.
in our time where I have a little bit of privacy, but it's just been a really great ride so far. I've been in the industry almost 10 years, and I can't officially a patient in the industry for more than 15. I am excited about the work that's still left to come, and about the people that have come in really ready to do that work, and recognize that it's not a short-term game. It's a long game endeavor, and this is my life's work. And so
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I'm going to be more influential going forward.
I can't wait. We can't wait to see it. Where can they find you on social media?
Yes, so I actually lost my Dasheeda Dawson account when IG did a sweep in December.
Yeah.
And so I've been somewhat hiding in plain sight under the Weed Head account. Before I became a government official, most people knew me as the Weed Head. People still know me as the Weed Head. And again, it was my vision of being the head of the weed industry that was created in 2016. But essentially, you can find me at the Weed Head Co. And that's the Weedhead, TheWeedHead Co on Instagram, and then Dasheeda Dawson on X or Twitter. I took a break there while I was in my role, but I'll be back. And we have also, I just have to shout out, since we're on a podcast, my baby sis Ice Dawson and I have 100 episodes of She Blaze, which is a podcast that we've been doing since 2019. And now that I'm also free to do that, we'll be coming back sooner rather than rather than later. And I'm excited about being able to give you real talk from a woman's point of view and a perspective in the space.
Oh man, I can't wait to see that. And I hope to be on and discuss what we're doing, or just sit there and listen. I'm down, as long as I can smoke some weed. So I'm really good. God bless you so much, Dasheeda Dawson. Thank you for coming on today. I want to thank everyone for joining us for this minute. I'm going to be on. I'm just going to let her go. I do have an announcement or two because we're still live. Dasheeda, thank you so much. I want to say that she's probably one of the main powerhouses in the cannabis culture community and just across the board. Follow her, you know where to find her. And again, peace and love. Okay, thank you, Dasheeda. We appreciate you. So I just want to tell you all that we're going to be doing a special event, Elevate and Innovate, NYC Cannabis Licensee Success Summit at Trends LIC, which will be April 24th, Thursday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is hosted by sponsored by Proteus 420 and hosted by the OG Social Network podcast. We are so looking forward to getting everyone to come. You can go to the OG Social Network podcast and select events, and you will come across the Elevate and Innovate License Summit. You can RSVP on Event High and donate. Donations are accepted. Purchase your tickets. It's to help us with our operations, keep us going so we can host affordable events for our sponsors and partners and introduce them to new businesses and people that need to be introduced to these new businesses. To these businesses. Many people will be looking for security for their new dispensaries. Myers Security will be there for that. Producer 420, which offers excellent ERP systems, will be there to give you all an idea of how to integrate all of your business-to-business needs. We also have Green Spectrum Processing Facility sponsor who does excellent gummies and chocolates and tinctures and balms, all health and wellness products that really work. They really work. I've been using them for about a year now. Also, my other sponsor, NYC, New York City Cannabis Exchange. They are located in Queens, and they are a dispensary that people need to meet. and see and ask questions about what to expect if they're going into the retail dispensary. We also have other vendors that'll be involved. I'll have updates on that. But we'll have guest speaker Don Morris of Produce 420. Greg Myers will come in for about 5 minutes just to give you a heads up on his services. And of course, our special guest speaker, who will be Dr. Chanda Macias of Women Grow. Oh my God, I'm so glad she's coming. I really appreciate you all and want you to know that it's going to be a great event. We're going to have catered affair that'll be sponsored. That'll be catered by High End Eats, Sam Burchell, and I just want to say that we're so looking forward to having you all come and attend. It's a B2B networking event. I want you all to just come and enjoy, and you'll have infused foods, a mocktail bar sponsored by Green Spectrum, and hey, tickets are on Event High. Again, thank you so much for everyone coming on. I will have more announcements as we go. We just got word, special announcement that New York City Cannabis Exchange will be our transportation sponsor for the upcoming New York State Canna Farms Tour 2025, which will probably begin in late May, early June for mixed and indoor grows, and outdoor grows in late July through beginning of October for the what do they call it? October or harvest or Canna Harvest. We are excited, and I want to thank Fame Neal and Rachelle Sanchez, Excel Social Pro, for their help. The grass is greener, and of course, Owlman Productions. Check out the new commercial that's going to be featured at JFK on 89 terminals for New York City Cannabis Exchange. I do have it posted on my profile at IG and other platforms that you're currently on. The commercial is amazing. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions or concerns, you know how to get to me. IG, the OG Social Network Podcast, on Facebook. You can contact us at New York City, NYC Talent Exchange. Excuse me. I'm so stoned right now. I smoke too much weed. And I have so many numbers and going through my head. So please forgive me. Again, you can find me. You know where to go. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn. I'm here. God bless you. The OG Social Network Podcast. Remember to relax, relate, and release. Love your brothers and sisters and everyone around you. God bless.